Hello guys, it's me Ashin over here. I will be taking today's session on the Blueprints Compendium. Basically, what we're going to be talking about today is an entirely new, everything related to blueprints, right? Because everyone wants to know more about Unreal Engine, and it gets very intimidating when you start coding and you have no idea what's happening, and you know what, there's so many functions, there's so many things in Unreal Engine, and so I'm going to be using a document with which I'll be showing exactly how we can, like, what all are the most important blueprints that we can cover in today's session. So, yep. So these are the list of all blueprints. I can send this document over in chat. This is available online, and this is a great way to start learning blueprints in Unreal Engine. So I suggest everyone to download this doc, and probably, if you guys can, follow me as while I am going through each and every single function. You can even see that each and every function, each and every blueprint given over here, they have like a, what do you call, a definition for each one of them. There's like what are the different inputs, and at the same time they've even given like one example usage of all of them. So with that being said, I shall now move over to my Unreal Engine window where I can show you how all of these blueprints work. So, if you guys, I suggest you guys to all have a notebook or something in your hands so that, so you can write all of this down if you wish to. Or at the same time, you guys can also download this document and keep it beside you. And also, I'll be explaining what all I've done over here, and you guys can follow me as well. I'm not going to be teaching you how to make a particular mechanic or anything, but how to make systems in general, like how to use variables. Like basically, I'm going to be teaching you the programming language of Unreal Engine, not C++, the other one. So let's move forward. Also, if you guys have any doubts or anything that you guys want to ask me, feel free to message in the live chat. I'm monitoring that as well. So you guys can message all of your doubts over there, and I'll reply back to you as soon as I see it. Um, with that being said, let's start. Um, let's start the session for today. Um, okay. hmm So, our first thing to do inside the Blueprint editor, if you guys have if you don't know how to open a project by yourself, I think I've covered that a couple of times in my previous videos. All you have to do is launch Unreal Engine and just create a blank template, and you'll get all of these stuff. You may not have this third person pack. I'll explain how you can add those stuff as well. You can just go over here, add feature content pack, select which pack you want, and you can add it by yourself later. But for now, I just want everyone to create a blank third person template. Sorry, a blank project. Don't add third person or anything. And just right click over here, go to Blueprint class, select on actor, and you can name it whatever actor you want it to be. I've named it as dump for now, so I'm gonna leave it as it is. And opening coming into dump, yeah. So let's see how you can make different stuff. So this is an actor blueprint, and I'll be explaining most of the stuff with the actor blueprint. There are two types of blueprints in Unreal Engine. One is something that you can add inside your level, which is called the level blueprint. This is where most of your things that you want to do inside the level of a game, you can code it directly over here. But it's preferred to have other blueprints as well, like actors, class. As you can see, when I clicked and created my own blueprint class, there are like a lot of classes that you can see over here. And I'll be explaining what all of them are there. These are all the basic ones, the most common ones, and there's like a lot more in Unreal Engine. So you don't have to learn every single one of them, but ones which are like really important that you can use in your game and start quick, making games as quickly as possible. With that being said, yeah, so you can open your level blueprint by just selecting this icon over here and clicking on open level blueprint. I think it's similar in Unreal Engine 4.27 for those who are using 4.27 as well. But yeah, so you can just select that and just go to open level blueprint, and then you'll open this window. And this is where you can like code, as I said before, as you can see, it's written level blueprint. And this is where you can code the functionality for your systems in game. So like if you want to create a HUD menu, or if you want to create, if you want to spawn, have some functionality for spawners or for stuff which are only present inside the level. For example, I want this statue to do something. So if I want to get a reference of this inside my blueprints, I can just select this, go over here, right click, and I can create a reference for my table. This is how level blueprints work. So basically, it directly involves whatever you're doing inside your entire level. And this is the most basic level that we have as of now. So let's scale this up. Wait, okay. Wait 1 second. Yeah, that works. That works. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna scale it up to this much, I guess. 5.25 should work. Let's bring this somewhere in the center. So that, yeah, we have like a bit more space instead of that constricted platform. And yeah, so moving on, we don't need this. I'll be explaining you what are variables in Unreal Engine. So variables, as you know, in any programming language, you create variables so that they can store a particular value which you can use in your blueprint later on, like just like in any programming language. For example, if you want to set the value of a to be equal to 12, you just click on create a new variable with this icon over here. You can say, write this as first integer because I want to save this as an integer. Right click over here, or you can even do it over here and then select integer. And now in order to drag it out, you can just like drag it from here and drop it inside your blueprint. And there are two ways to do it. One is get and one is set. So get is it will get the value of the blueprint, and set means it will set the value of this variable inside the blueprint. So these are the two different ways of using variables inside Unreal Engine. If you want to use a value which you have edited or modified, or you want to modify this particular value, you first get it, and then you do whatever calculations you want, and then you set it back to this back over here again. Like right now, whatever is the original value is equal to the final value itself in this case. But suppose if you want to do some math properties, like you got to compile this, save it first, and then when you click on this, you can see a default value written over here. I'm going to write 1 as my default, and I want to do some calculations. I'm going to add 35, and I want to also multiply by 10. Wait, you search for multiply and then you select that. Yeah. And then I'm going to set that to be the value over here. So whatever are these circular pins that you see over here, these small circles, these things from where you can drag out this color wires, they are basically the values of the variable. And these and all of these are of the same data type. So basically it's just a link, and this link is connecting this to this. Here, as you can see, it's doing a math operation of plus, and all of this is written, all of these functions are written in C++. So it kind of like opens uh, it kind of like opens Visual Studio for you to see what the code is all about. But yeah, we're not going to be going into that. We're just going to be focusing on this. So yeah, and if I want to see if this actually working, I will make an event pick and play so that you guys can see this actually working. So there are two ways of using event begin, like to show this inside your game. So we're going to be using the first one, like the most basic one, print string. This is a very good tool for debugging. So as you can see, what I've done over here is I'm getting the initial value of the string of the integer, what I'm doing over here is this is my initial value, 1. I'm printing it out. Then I'm adding 35, multiplying it by 10, and then I'm setting that to be my final value, to be my new value of the same variable first int, and that I'm setting it to my print string. So this is kind of like a basic functionality that I've just created over here. Event begin play is nothing but an event that is called the moment a game starts or loads. So when you click on this play button over here, all of the blueprints which have this event begin play will execute simultaneously. So, and if you're wondering what this is and how did this appear, if you just drag and drop it over here, what's happening is this is of integer data type, as you can see. This is an integer, and this is a string. They're asking you to put a string value. As you can see, in string, the string to log out. So what this does, this is a converter. This basically converts integer to a string and then places it inside this function. So print string is nothing but a way to you can say like suppose you want to find out where your code is going wrong, so you can just use print string in like different like areas and see where your code is going wrong, and that's how you kind of like debug in Unreal Engine, the most easiest and fastest way. So for now, if I'm playing this, as you can see, the first value was 1, and then immediately, actually, I think I will increase the duration so that you guys will be able to see it. This is like, you can see there are more settings you can do. I'm gonna make it 10 seconds. You can see this value for this for 10 seconds, and the same for here as well. So now if I compile, save, and then play the level, as you can see over here on your top right corner where my mouse cursor is, that is where the values of the variable are stored. So first, initially it's printing 1, and then after it does all of the calculations, that is 1 into 35, 1 plus 35, which is 36 into 10. So that'll give you 360, and that's why the value was 360 over here. As you can see, it's 360 over here. So that's the most like basic way with which you can code with blueprints, and that's how you use variables and kind of like have it. You can use like different data types, like a lot of data types, and the best part is you can create your own blueprint classes and have that to be set as a variable as well. So just like in, I think in Java, if you guys have done Java before, over there you create a class, a method by yourself, and then you create an instance of that method in your main, probably in your main method or in any other methods that you're using, and you call an instance, like you create an object and you set that object to be the value of that particular method. So the same way, you do the same thing over here as well. As you can see, these are all just the basic data types. You have Boolean. Boolean is nothing but wait. I'll create a new variable for you to show to see what is Boolean. So Boolean is nothing but true or false. So as you can see, this is like one checkbox. So right now it's false. If I click on it, it's true. That's it. It's just a one value, and you can like drag it out. And as I said, you can there's get and set. So get the value. You're just checking if this is true or false. Basically, you can use this as conditions where you can check if something is true, then you want it to execute some part of the code. If it's false, you want to execute another part of the code. So this is what Booleans are used for. You can Booleans are going to be used extensively as well as integers. And the next most important data type that you guys will be using extensively is wait, not vectors. So basically, this if I select on vector data type, this is basically your x, y, and z values. As you can see, this is my x, this is my y, this is my z values inside my default values. And you can set this to be of any value. But basically, you'll be manipulating these vectors so that because your game is a 3D game in essence, right? So you're going to be having values of all of these objects in 3D space. Now, for example, if I select on this table, as you can see over here, my location, which is my vector, this is the location x, y, and z. So this is exactly what a vector is, and this is telling me the location of this particular object in the world. So the exact same way, if you manipulate vectors inside your blueprints, you will be able to do a lot of motions. You can get characters to move to that particular area or location in the world. And yep, this is a very important data type. I suggest you guys have a very deep understanding of vector algebra um, before moving forward with Unreal Engine per se, and learn it's gonna be very extensive. And if you want to even see X, Y, and Z separately, you can just like split the spins, and you'll get all of them different values. But the best part about vectors is that each value is a float. So this is the next data type that you guys will be using extensively, which is floats. So if I select this, make it a float. Float is nothing. It's just a value of a number uh, with a decimal point. As you can see, it's like written in decimals. And yeah, as you can see, I can like change the value, make it minus and stuff. It's all possible with Unreal Engine. So I'm just going to be setting it as 1.0, and each what do you say? Each float, a vector is made up of three floats. Each float is like one for x, one for y, and one for z. And yep, so these are like our basic data types. I'll also tell you guys about a shortcut of getting these variables to be used in your game. Suppose if you just drag out and you hold control while you're dragging out on your keyboard, it will automatically get the value of this variable. But if you want to set this value, if you just drag it out and hold Alt instead of Control, it will set the value. So this is basically like a small shortcut that you can use for your to make your coding faster and stuff like that. But yeah, so apart from this, I've just shown you a very basic implementation of how to use variables inside blueprints, and that's about it. We'll be moving a bit more towards functions as well. But before that, I'll just explain what are events for those who were confused about what this exactly is. So Unreal has a lot of events. So as you can see, you have like a couple of events. This one action event called jump. This one for like look up, look down, move forward, move right, move left. Then you have like these gamepad events and stuff like that. You have your keyboard events which you can trigger. So like if you press zero, it will execute this particular event. And yep, so basically you can think of events as functions that are called, but they are not in your control. They'll be in control of, particularly, it will be in the game's control. So, like, suppose, like, the player, if he wants to execute a particular event, like, for say, he wants to execute event begin play. So, these controls are executed with uh, with the player's input. So basically, all events are basically those things which are controlled mostly by the player, and the stuff that you want to control as a developer by in game would be you would be using functions, or you can even create your own custom events. So custom events are nothing but they're like functions as well. There's a clear difference between events and functions, but I'll be explaining that in particular. So custom events is nothing but if you want a blueprint, like an event that you want to call, like suppose I want to run a countdown timer when my player places T or something like that. So you can just create a custom event, call it countdown. And when I press T, um, okay, wait, let's do it on event tech. So on event take, I want it to go to countdown. So I'm gonna call this countdown from here. So basically from in event take, it's calling this function, which is this function directly executes to this particular event. And if you see, if I like double click on this, it will automatically go to this particular event. And you can even add your own inputs. So these are inputs that you can add. So you can choose data types. You can choose, I want one text, I want one integer, and I want one rotator. And yeah, so that's, and you can use these inside your events as well. And you can, as you can see in your function as well, it has automatically been, you have seen, it's automatically being like called over here. And you can like input values that you want, and it will come out of this function like that. So this is a very basic like implementation. of what like explanation of what events are. On the other hand, functions are a bit different. So functions are like basically you what we when you have a particular piece of code which you want to execute over and over again. Like suppose for example, let's just delete this function. What I'm gonna do is I want to do this. I want to call this entire thing again and again, but I don't want to do it like I don't want to write all of this code all over again. I just want it to be like manually inputted. So I can just right click this, collapse to function, and I'm just gonna type increase variable value something. It could be literally anything. You can just type whatever function. I'm just going to drag it out again and kind of hook it again up to here. Now if I compile and save, and if you can see, if I display this, it did the exact same thing. So first it did one, it printed out the value of 360, and now the new value is 360, and then it did it again. So 360 plus 1, sorry, 360 plus 35 into 10. So that's exactly what just happened over here. And so basically, I called the same code twice. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. Now, if you right click and if you go inside, you can see that it's basically become kind of like a function. So functions are used for when you want to create modular codes. So when you want your code to be incredibly precise, it's best to make it as modular as possible so that you can call them again and again and use it in different places, the same code again and again. So that's exactly kind of like a brief discussion of how blueprints work. And wait, I'll just delete this as well, and then I can delete it from here. And then the last thing that you can see over here is called a macro. This is basically the last thing in last important thing in blueprints, which you need to know before we move on to the different functions. So macro is nothing but a kind of it works exactly like functions, but we use macros for doing math calculations rather than doing what do you say, rather than doing making it do a particular function, because in functions you'll have to drag out different stuff. You can do a line trace, you can do whatever sphere trace, coefficient trace, whatever you wanted to do, you can do it in a function, but we generally do not use macros for that. You can do it inside a macro, but it's kind of like not advised. So macros are used for you calculating conditions. You can calculate vectors. You can calculate strings, max. You can do math calculations. Calculate whatever float you want, like speed, velocity, direction, starting point, ending point, left, right, whatever kind of math calculations you require in your game. It's best to do it inside a macro. You can just like if you have like a variable, as I said, okay, let's just take this over here. I wanted to do plus 10, uh, or just do this function called increment float. I'll drag this out of input, drag this out of output, or actually, you know what? Let's just do this and put this as the final one. Yeah. So what this does is it takes one, increments it, and gives it out as an output with the result. So if I just go, wait, I've renamed this as vector calculation, right? Okay, let's do a vector calculation since I've asked it to do vector. So I'm just gonna do plus 20 plus 40 and whatever is this value. We do not need a float. We can just directly hook this up to this. And yeah, actually we don't even need execution pins then. Yeah. So I just did like a stupid as basic math calculation. What I can just do is drag it out, and yep. So this basically becomes kind of like a calculate, like internal calculation, and it does everything, and then you can just drag out and use that particular value. So this is exactly what a macro does, and and as I said, it's best to use it with math functions. You can do vector calculations. You can do float like normal integer float calculations for your for loops and stuff, and you can even check conditions. It's the best way to use macros are for conditions as well, so you can check different boolean variables. You can check if one is greater or one is lesser after that addition, subtraction. It's basically used for mathematical calculations. It's like the best way I can put it for. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to functions in Unreal Engine. So our first function is going to be um, Boolean. So we're going to be using branch. So I'm going to drag out my Boolean. Let this be false. And from here, I want it to, you can just drag out and select branch. And you will get this awesome function called branch. And basically what this does is, so you can just check if it's equal to false, then I want it to execute the true. Okay, you guys might be confused, but basically what I'm doing over here is I'm checking if this boolean, if it's equal to false, then if so if this is false and this is also false and you're checking if both of them are false, then your output will be true. If you understand what exactly happened over here, basically what I'm doing over here is I'm checking if this boolean variable and this and this one, let's just make another one second wait, what, second bool. Let's just use another one so that it can, it'll be better and easier to understand. Oh wait, this is not a boolean. Change variable that. Yeah, don't worry about this huge window. It's not nothing. It's just changing my variable type so I can use it inside my blueprint. So basically what's happening over here is I'm checking if my first bool and my second boolean are equal. And if both of them are equal, it will execute the true part of it. If they are false, it will not execute the true part. So just to see the best and basic example of this, I'm gonna print hello if it's true, and I'm gonna print bye if it's false. So just compile, save, and yep. So for now, I'm not changing the value of both of them, and I'm just going to keep them both as true. I mean false. So you can see over here the default value is false, and over here the default value is also false. So if I just execute this, you can see that we are getting hello getting printed over here. So basically what's happening is it's checking both of them are true. I mean if both of them are equal, since both of them are equal, it's executing the true part of it and it'll be showing you hello. Now if I just make any one of this, if I just make it false, like as you see now both of them are not equal. And now if I execute, you can see that we are getting the word by over here inside the level editor. And yeah, so this is like a very basic example of how to use branch in your games. You can use branch for like in many ways. You can check conditions. This is like very basic stuff which I'm explaining over here, but it's basically like if and else in your kind of like other programming languages. If you know about them, you can just write type branch and you will get a nested if, like an actual nested if condition. And you can if you wanted like to be hooked up on true and then you wanted to check another condition, you can do that. Or you can have like, okay, so I want this. I'm gonna get make another one. I'm gonna call it my third boolean. I'm going to be dragging this out and I can make like a simple logic array that I wanted to do. So if this and this, or this and the final, I want it to be a not. So this is like a very complex thing. But suppose I wanted to implement a logical array just like this in my game. So if my first boolean and my second boolean both are um, they're getting like they've been input into an AND gate, and if you guys know what an AND gate is, wait, I will explain that better here. Um, so this is basic Boolean algebra if you guys haven't learned about it before. And yeah, so this is AND gate. And what it does is if you have 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So if any of your inputs are 0, it will return you an output of 0. And if any of them is 1, it will return an output of 1. So basically 0 over here is false and 1 over here is true. So if you have both the conditions as false, the output will also be false. If you have any one condition as false as well, your output will still be false. And the only time when it becomes true is when both of them are true. So that's exactly what we have implemented over here, an AND condition. So that's exactly what we are doing over here as well. Now I'm gonna move to the Unreal window, and we're back over here. And over here, I'm checking if this is in like I'm putting it through an AND gate, and I'm checking the condition for this. If both of them are true, then I wanted to even check if the third boolean is also true, or like you're using an OR gate over here. And then the final thing, I'm just negating this entire thing condition, and I wanted to execute like this way. So this is kind of like a very basic functionality of Booleans. Um, and yeah, as I said, this is perfect example. You can just collapse this to be a macro, and I can just write this as a Boolean check. And basically use this as kind of I can use this code again and again if I want to do the same logical array in different parts of my game. So this is exactly how branch works. And yeah, moving, I think I can move forward if there isn't any doubts. Are there any doubts? Just message me in chat and I shall explain it further. Uh, okay. I think there aren't any doubts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back to the compendium and show you exactly what who the branch is. So directs the flow of execution of a blueprint based on the Boolean value condition. So condition being whatever you're inputting inside the condition, it's gonna show direct the flow of execution. Direct the flow of execution meaning it will set it to true or it will go to the false part. If you guys have, if I haven't explained before, this white color pin that you can see and this white color line are called execution pins. So basically the code moves from one white pin to the next white pin, and that's how it's all connected. So that's exactly what it means for directing the flow execution inside a blueprint. Then we are moving on to condition. So this is a condition. You can see that the Boolean value, it can be obtained from the Boolean variable, or it could be the result of an expression. And I just showed you how to make a basic expression as well. It's not necessary that all of them has to be Boolean. As you can see, this is a very simple implementation of a usage of getting high scores. So if your score is greater than your high score, then you wanted to check. You want to check if it's that. If it is true, you want to set your old score, I mean your new score to your old high score. So basically, you want to set a new high score, and this is like how you would implement it in blueprints. So another example, as you can see, there is an event called any damage. So this is an event that is triggered when a character or a pawn is damaged by another character or a pawn or an actor. So what's happening over here is that you're checking if this damage, you're reducing it, you're setting it to be health. You're then checking if this health has become zero, if it's less than zero. So basically, you're reducing the health every time it gets damaged, and then you're checking if it has become zero. And once it becomes zero, you're just going to destroy the actor. So that's exactly what you're doing over here with an event any damage. So now we're going to move forward on switch on int. So let's come back to the Unreal window. Okay, so what is switch on int? So switch statements, I think you can, I'll just bring it out. So basically what this does is it takes an input of a integer, okay? And let me just quickly make a quick functionality for this. Suppose I want, let's not do this integer and let's get a random integer. Um, I'm gonna wait, random integer in range from 0 to let's say uh, and I need to add four more pins over here, and I'm gonna put this as a selection. So let's say print string hello print string uh, by, and let me just copy paste, copy paste, and copy paste. So I'm gonna put this to 2, this to 3, and this to 4. And yeah, let's leave default as it is. Default won't print anything, and yeah. So what happens over here is, okay, let's change this as well. Yeah, okay. I just made like some simple text that would be easy to see. Let's just change the. I should have done this before. Okay. And the last one. Yeah. So let's just clean this up a bit quickly. And yep, so basically what switch on int does is it's another flow like controlling the flow kind of function. And by flow I mean this, the flow of code. So as I said before, as you can see, exec, which means execution. um, from event begin play, there's an execution that's going towards switch on int, and based on the value of a random integer in range from 0 to 4, it executes different parts of this code. So if the integer's value is 0, it will go to 0. If integer's value is 4, it will go to 4. And the best way to show this would be with an mm, event tick is a better way of doing this, and I'll show you why. Now, if I just go and play the code, as you can see, it's executing different parts of the code. So this might seem like a bunch of gibberish, but let's try to simulate this um, in this way. So I'm just gonna be simulating it here. As you can see, depending on the random integer which is shown over here, the value of this, wait, I think it's better if I reduce the desktop value. But yeah, so as you can see over here, the value of this integer is 0 and 4, and it keeps sending a random integer. Event tick is an event which is called every single frame of the game, and as you can see, it is sending it to different parts of this code. Now, if I press escape and suppose I want to make a pin 6, 7, 8, and let's do one thing. Let's hook 5 to be the same as this, 6 to be the same as this, 7 to be the same as this, and 8 to be the same as this. Now if I compile and save, and then if I play, so what's happening is you can see the execution is just alternating from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but it's not happening with 5, 6, 7, and 8. So the reason why that happens is our selections are just between 0 to 4. It's just sending a random value, and all of that is getting printed over here. So basically what's happening over here is since our range is only from 0 and it gives a value till 4, our integer there's only like an integer that will get inputted into the switch on int from 0 to 4. And as you can see, there's 0, 1, there's 2, 3, 4, but there's no 5, 6, 7, 8 because it never gets um, generated from this function, and hence it never gets it never gets inputted into the switch on int function. So that's why it's only 0 to 4 are being executed, and the code moves to that particular node. So if the value of this is 0 at that particular instance, it will execute hello. If it's 1, it will execute bye. If it's 2, it will execute, as you can see, good morning. And this is how switch on int works. It's basically kind of like a switching function, which selects an output which is based on the input value. So if your input is 5, it will go to output number 5, pin number 5. And that's exactly how the switch on int works. Um, and yeah, this could be like a very crude implementation of this, but let's move forward to the next function. Okay, so let's see, switch on int, it determines the flow of execution according to the integer input value. That's exactly what I showed you guys. So if your integer value determines the output, if the value is not found, the output happens in the default pin. So if there isn't any value, it directly goes to the default pin. But usually there's always, we set the code in such a way that there's always a value that gets spawned. And this is an example usage. So as you can see, let's say if you have difficulty levels, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then you wanted to set particular values. So like if in your game, you want the character to get damaged 2 times more if he goes for a higher difficulty, 3 times more if he goes for an even higher difficulty, and insanely high damage multiplier if he goes for the highest level of difficulty. You can set all of that using this as well. You can just make a function to set all of those values the moment the game starts. So as you can see over here, the difficulty of the game is stored in an integer variable named difficult that can have the values from 0 to 3. The total number of enemies, in this case, is doing it with enemies instead of the damage multiplier or something, and it's it according to difficulty. And this is another, yeah. So probably you can use this as like for your dialogues. So suppose if the player interacts with the non-playable character NPC in a particular manner, and you can use that as your switch on int, and then it will give you different outputs. And if there isn't any value, you can just say I do not understand the question. Please repeat again, just like how a normal Alexa AI or Siri tells you when they do not understand a particular question. So, yep, we are done with switch on int. And now let's go into control statements, that is for each loop. And I shall be explaining what this is in the Unreal Engine window. Let's move over there. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this as it is because there is another function that I can explain along with switch on int, and it'll be useful. Wait. You know what? I shall explain that function right now itself. So, the reason why event take is very like usually we never make a lot of events run on event take, especially heavy math calculations. It's better if you never ever run heavy vector calculations, heavy calculation that like it gets keep getting called like an update function or something inside event tick. Reason being is because this event is getting called every single frame if ticking is enabled. So every single frame, like for example, your game has if you're making it like let me see if I can show if show FPS. FPS. Do I not know the command for this? Show flag FPS dot FPS. Okay, I do not remember the command for this. It's okay. So basically, your games you have a particular FPS rate, like 30 FPS or 24 FPS or even 60 FPS. So what is FPS in actuality? 60 frames per second. So frames per second meaning it kind of like compiles 60 frames in 1 second, and this event is called every single frame, not every single second, but every single frame. So within 1 second, this event is called 60 times. So that is why this function is very heavy, and it's not good to use this function in a most, like, very heavy calculations and stuff. Instead, there is another way we can do this. So even we can play. I'm going to be calling this function called set timer by event. And what's happening over here is, this is a function set timer by event which creates a timer. Suppose I want this to get called every 5 seconds, and I want it to loop. So looping meaning every 5 seconds this timer is continuously getting called. And let's see, timer. Timer. No, wait. Uh, Custom event. Yeah. So I'm just going to be calling this timer event. And basically, what it's doing is this event timer is getting called every 5 seconds in a continuous loop. Now, if I uncheck looping, what it's going to do is, if you can see, after 5 seconds, you'll see something over here. Hello. So basically, after 5 seconds, this timer ran and it checked the value. Okay, the value was 0, so it went and put it inside hello. A better representation of this is like this. As you can see, it executed by after 5 seconds. Now, if I set this to looping, and you know what, let's reduce this to be like 3 seconds, or better just do it as 2 seconds. And now, if I just run this. As you can see, event begin play. After 2 seconds, it ran 0. After 3 seconds, it ran 3. After one another two, so you get what I mean. What it's basically doing is it's getting a random integer every 2 seconds, and then it's executing this function. This is why it's a much more better and easier way to do complex math functions. I mean, it's better to use a set timer by event rather than an event take, because it's a more optimized way of executing events inside blueprints. So, in order to optimize your game, it's always better to do this, and you can even have a manual control over this. So in that, you have no choice for but it getting called every frame, in 1 second. So instead of that, you can instead like time it to even 1 second if you wanted to, and control this time. You can even do it like 0.0167, and it will get called every 0.0267 seconds. So yep, this is set timer by event. And suppose in between in your game you want to stop this. You do not want this to continue. So in order to do that, there are two ways. One is you can promote this. Just drag this out from the blueprint. You drag it out. Select the option promote. Wait, I'll show you. Drag it out from here. You'll get an option called promote to variable, and then you can set the value or name of this variable. I'm going to be calling this timer handle. uh, do not know the spelling of handle. Yeah, and as you can see, I created a variable, but basically what this is that it's just a reference to this timer, and whatever I do to this variable, it will get affected in this timer. So now, for example, after by um, I want to stop this timer. If it executes by, I want to stop this timer. So I'm just going to do clear and invalidate timer by handle. This is another function. You can either, this would completely obliterate a reference to this. Basically, it is just going to set this value to none, and there wouldn't be any timer handle. And that's exactly what's happening over here. And let's actually set this to be 8. So you will have from 0 to 8. So one instance it can happen is if the value is 1, if the value is 5. And let's see this in action. So now, as you can see, it immediately executed number five. That was like not our luck, as you can say. But let's see this try in a different way. Let's try our luck again. Okay, it went back to five again. Yeah, now you can see 3, 0, 3, 4, 2, 7, 1, 4, 1. The moment it reached 1, it stopped. That's because we have obliterated the reference of this timer and we have invalidated this timer. So basically, there isn't any timer that's going to be running. Basically, this event is stopped. This function is stopped forcefully, and yep. So basically, this is what happens when you use clear and invalidate timer. This is how you can stop or this timer from continuing if you want this thing to stop. Another way to do it is pause timer by handle. Okay, and just drag this out again, get timer, and put this over here. This would just pause it so that um, you can re-engage it after another time, like in another blueprint or in another area. So let's do it like this. Um, T keyboard. If I press T on my keyboard, I want it to unpause timer by hammer. And let's see this in action. As you can see, this is continuing normally. Now it has stopped. And now I'm going to press T. Okay. Wait. Yeah, as you can see, the timer has initiated all over again. Again, it has stopped. I'm going over here, pressing T, and again it has started. So this is exactly how pause timer by handle works, pausing and unpausing. So you can re-again engage this timer at any point of your blueprint later on. So yeah, that's basically it. How to use a timer, and as I said, this is a very optimized way of doing stuff, and it's much more, what do you say, suggested to use timer, this function rather than using eventing. So, yep, that's about it for set timer by handle. Now let's go for the for each loop. So let's kind of like delete all of this code. We're not going to be using this again. So in our for loop, let's see, for each loop. So let's explain what a for loop is before that. So as you can see, there's something called for loop under flow control, 0 to 10. Suppose if I give, or if I'll use this in my first int, give the value, set this to be 10. And yeah, so basically what for loops does is print string 20 times, I mean, just pressing 20, or you know what, just plug this in. That makes it more better. And let's just do this, another print string completed. Okay, so basically what's happening over here is that in event begin play, we are initiating a for loop which runs from 0 to first int being 10 over here. And inside the loop body, I wanted to print 10, print what iteration or what number of the loop it is at, and that you can get it from index. Index is nothing but the iteration that's currently going. And after completed, I wanted to print completed over here. So let's just try this. I think it was not shown for quite a while. So let's just do this as 10. And let's just do this as well as 10. And I'll show it to you over here now. Compiling, saving. And as you can see, it ran a for loop instantly from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And after it reached 10, the for loop was over, so it printed completed. And that's exactly what for loop does. So this is your loop body, which gets executed the from first index to last index that many number of times, and then after that, after completed, you can execute another set of code. So this is what for loop is. Um, if you want to do, if you want to know, yeah. So for loop works like this. Now suppose you want to see for each loop. Basically, what for each loop does is, suppose I have an array. So this is an integer array. So you can set it from single, that is a single value, or if you want multiple values, use. I'm just gonna be changing this. Yeah, as you can see now, the way this pin has changed to a square box with like 8 blocks inside of it, and when I plug it in, the ninth box is also filled. And basically what array does is, now if I compile, save, you can see that the default value is changed over here. And here now I can add as many default values as I want. So if this is 2, this is 5, this is 6, this is 3, this is 6, this is 0. And let's just see, let's give a proper implementation of how this works. Now, um, let's see. I wanted to print string at the end, and let's do like this. Append, uh, append. I'm going to be using string functions over here so that, wait, no, this is append string. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. Um, Value. This is going to be my value. This is converting this. This is going to be my output, and index. This is my index. And here is what I'm doing. And if you right click, you can get this reroute pin so that you can like arrange your code better. And yeah, so that's basically the gist of what I've done over here. And after completed, again, I'm going to print string. I'm going to be saying completed. Yeah. And here my duration, I'm going to be setting this to be 10, and here also to be 10. So if you want some more, let's change the color to red or something. And this is exactly how it's going to be executed. Now if I go over here, and you can see value for index 0, the value is 1, for index 1, the value is 5, for index 2, the value is 6, for index 3, the value is 3, for index 4, the value was, yeah, you get the point. So whatever is the value I've stored, that is 1, 5, 6, 3, 6, 7, and your index, I can, as you can see over here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is how you use for each loop. You basically create an array, and this does not need to be an integer per se. It can literally be anything. So suppose I make a vector. Oh wait, not a vector. Let's see Boolean. I'm gonna convert this to be of an array. Change variable type. Let's see. Okay, it has changed. Now it's become an array. Now if I plug it on this, okay, yeah, now it should work. Now if I plug it this, let's not do this. Directly put this here. Let's remove this, and yeah. Now if I compile, save, now go here, I just add true, 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 like that. And now if you see, as you can see, false, true, true, false, true for index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exactly as how we had initially thought about it. But yeah, so that's basically how for each loop works. You can plug any array you want. It doesn't have to be a boolean or an integer. You can even use structures, data types. There are different types. These are different actors. You can manipulate actors as well. Let's even show you how you can get the next function. I'll explain it right now itself. There is a function called get all actors of class. Okay, on event begin play. Okay, Um, let's see. Hmm. What can we use? What can we use? What can we use? Okay, let's do it like this. Okay, I'm gonna drag out this dump which I created. There's one dump here, there's another dump here. I'm just gonna duplicate this. If you want to know how to duplicate, just hold Alt on your keyboard and kind of like, yeah, you can do this. So now I made 6 dumps, um, and I'm gonna get my dump from here. As you can see, I'm getting this actor of class. Yeah, we just gotta move this. Uh, Now we can plug this in. Put this here, plug this in here, plug this over here, and this is getting my display name. Basically, another way of converting. And yeah, this remains the same. Save, run, and as you can see, dump 6, dump 5, dump 3, dump 2, dump 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, since I've added 6 dumps, it'll automatically get me 6 values. If I duplicate this again and make 2 more extra and then run this again, it's gonna get me 8. So yeah, this is what get actors of class does. Basically, I get all actors of class dump, and if I just want one, if I just to get actor of class, and I then search for dump, it's gonna find get me the first one. I'm just gonna it's rearrange code, print string. There are 2 actors. Uh, let's just do this one first. Play. As you can see, it gets me the first one, which is here, the first dump. It doesn't get me anything after that. But suppose I want to get all of my dumps and I want to do something with each one of them. So I can just get, instead of one actor of class, I'll get all actors of class, hook it up to be and play. And as you see, it's all how this works out. And from here, you can even like kind of like make changes to your variable. So for example, from here, if I want to find get actor location, and I'm going to use that, I'm going to print this to string. So basically, it's going to get me these values. So if I select dump, it's going to be getting 360 minus 30, 30. For dump 3, it's going to get 420, 150, 30. For dump, it's going to be 250, 120, 30, like that. And let's see how that works. As you can see, 250, 120, 30, 360 minus 30, 30, 420, 150, 30, and that's exactly what you can do. So you can get information of these actors from these locations and use it inside your game. And that's how you would use get actors of class, and you can also use for each loop in this way. So, yep, now we're done with for each loop. Now let's see what is our next on our list. Let's see. So now we are at get all actors of class. We're done with this. Um, yeah, as you guys can say, if there are any doubts, you can just message inside this. Yeah, and I will see it in chat. And now, as you can see, just explore this for each loop. Takes input parameter as an array, performs a set of actions associated with the output pin loop body, and that you are setting it to be the output pin. And after that, execution flow is directed to output pin completed. Array is your input array. Output is array element. That is the what is that particular value of that particular in that array, and array index is the index of that current array element. And these are some of your example usages. As you can see, find best player, player score, find whichever has is greater than the whosoever player scores higher than the best score, you set that to be that element to be best score and your index to be that best player. So basically, if player number 5, he'll be on index number 5, and his best score is he's the best player. Like he has the highest score. So that particular array index will be player number 5. So so the best player will become best player number five. And that's how it's set. And this is also another one, array element, lamp index to keep on. If they're checking if both of these are equal, if they are, set visibility to be true, otherwise set it to be false. And as I've already explained, what get actors of all classes, and as you can see, it's getting all actors, input, out actors, and then yeah, so suppose you're getting all actors of this class, and if it is scared, and if it overlaps, and if it's scared, you want it to destroy the actor, and that's how the thing becomes like, that's how it becomes scared. Or like um, there is a variable inside ghost in Pac-Man which you can switch as true or false. So if it's true, a different set of functionality is executed inside the ghost blueprint. And if it gets overlapped with basically what it's doing is it's setting all of the ghosts which are present in the level to be scared of Pac-Man now. And after it sets all of these ghost variables to scared to be true, and then after that it destroys this actor. What destroy actor here is the pill. So the pill gets destroyed because Pac-Man has eaten it already, and that's how you would do it here. So this is another example you guys can like explore. And yeah, I'm not going to be explaining how this works. You guys can try it out by yourself. There's even an excellent example usage. If you want to spawn actors inside your class, so you have the class that you're specifying. Suppose you want to spawn a coin, it'll spawn a particular coin. You know what? I'll actually show this. This is a very good one. I'll show you how to do this. Wait. Okay. Coming back to the Unreal Engine window, let's do it like this. So inside this, I want to add a um, particle particle system. So this, yeah, I'm gonna add. Let's not do the explosion, but let's do fire. Okay. I'm also gonna add box collision. Box. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So what I'm gonna be doing over here is pressing T on my keyboard. I've got to find it. Yeah, T. Spawn actor from class. I'm going to select my dump. I'm going to spawn this dump. Um, get uh, actor transform. Get player character. And connect this to be here. Get player character. Get actor transform. Dump. Always try to spawn. Ignore collisions. And yep, that's basically it. Now let's see. Okay, so we have a couple of dumps. We do not want them. So I'm going to delete all of them and I'm going to play. Now I'm pressing T on my keyboard. I'm spawning this blueprint. So as you can see, wait, think I'm just gonna delete that because I hate the noise. I don't know if you guys can hear the noise, but yeah, now it's so much more better. So if I press T on my keyboard, I spawn that particular actor. And now if you want to see, like exiting, and if I'm right, yeah, as you can see, this is that actor. Now, if I press T again, no wait, let's engage back into the player. And now I press T again. As you can see, if you see right on the outliner, you see that another dump has been created. And like this, if I just keep spamming the button D, you can see that dump is getting created again and again, kind of creating like a trailing part. And if you want it to be like something like, mm, let's do it like this, begin play, delay 10, delay. So delay is nothing but it gives a delay, and after this delay is over, it will execute a particular function. So I'm going to give it like 5 seconds. and I'm gonna destroy this actor. So basically, the lifespan of this actor is just 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, it's just gonna get destroyed. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So now if I press T and press T again and again, see after 5 seconds, it gets destroyed. See, that got destroyed, this got destroyed, this got destroyed. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing over here. So I can create like fire trace, or you can have like a flash lightning effect, which would kind of like destroy itself after like 5 seconds. Kind of like Ghost Rider kind of a theme, makes it look cool and stuff. So this is how you would do it with spawn actor of class. You spawn the actor, you select one, and then or you can select all of this. This is not really that important. If there is an error with your collision, just change this collision handling override, and that's basically it. That's all you need to do. Okay. Okay, so that's it about Spawn Actor. You guys can see the different, the other, what do you say, example usages inside this document. It's very good document and it's really awesome. Um, and I'll be sharing this document with you once the session is over. So don't worry. You guys can read it and try all of these by yourselves. Understand how what each function does, and then use it. And over here, if you can see, if you want to create a function that would kind of like randomly spawns a pickup item in different locations, you can use that between x and y. There's a max value of 1000 and there's a minimum value of minus 1000, and the same for the y as well. And then that's going inside a spawn transform, and from 1 to 10 you can spawn 10 pickup items. And I've already explained what random integer range. Minimum value is going to be the lowest value that can be generated, maximum value is be the highest value that can be generated, and the return value is a random integer between minimum and a maximum value. And as you can see, even they have done the exact same thing what I've done. Power up, shield, ammo, create gold. They've done the exact same thing what I've done on switch on int. And yeah, you guys can see this could also be used for dice. So you do know that there's a probability, and every value has equal probability of appearing. So you can even make dice-based games and stuff like that, or do some kind of like probability calculations with them as well. So, yep, that's basically it. Now let's go to open level. This is something new, and it's the most easiest function that I can explain. So, open level is nothing but, okay, let's save this. Go if you see in your third person map, there is a map, right? And this is going to be called my third person map. If I open this, save, let's see. Okay, whatever it has to save, let it save. And yeah, here inside my third person map, this is my third person map, right? Now, suppose I want him once he reaches this corner, I'm going to create a trigger volume. So let's see how that works. Volumes, trigger volume. So I've created a volume over here. It's called trigger volume, and what it does is when an actor enters this volume, it triggers something, and that's exactly what I want to do. So I'm just making this volume like small so that the actor can like fit inside this around say. And in my word settings, yeah, it's all good. And what I'm gonna do over here, if you guys remembered what I showed you guys in the first part, um, so here, as soon as the actor overlaps here, I've selected the trigger volume from here, from the outliner. I go over here, right click and say create reference. Uh, and let's see, begin, overlap. Yeah, so what I'm doing over here is with even begin play, I'm binding this particular event to on actor begin overlap. So basically, this trigger volume is also an actor only. And once any other actor overlaps with this particular volume, I want to bind an event. And this is going to be my custom event. And this is going to be open level. All right. So this is going to be my event. And I'm going to cast to my third person character. That's what I'm going to do over here. And if this is my third person character, then what I want to do is I want to open level. Wait, let's do it another way. Open level by name. So yeah, this I'm gonna be setting it to be minimal default. Okay, wait. I'll just see the exact name that they've used. It's not in prototyping. Starter content, maps, right click. Just select this, edit, Control C, paste. So I want to open level name, and you have to make sure that this is the exact same letters, the words, even the underscores, everything has to be same. So you can just like copy paste this exact same thing over here, and you'll be good to go. If there's even a slight change in the spelling or typo that you make over here, this level will not open, and I will show you how this works now. So now I'm gonna play. I think it was here. If I could, as you can see, it opened this particular level. The moment I reached here to this corner where my volume is, it opened that. So if you want to see the volume as well, let's see. Um, Set visibility, set hidden in game. Wait, I think I have to drag it from here. Set hidden in game. Wait, get collision. Brush component. This is all brush component. Okay. Uh, let's see. Set hidden in game. Brush component. New hidden to be true. It's there will be a lot of new functions which I'll be teaching you like this. Set hidden in game is basically nothing but checking the visibility. So now if I play, no, that did not work. Okay, let's see if the function is here. Okay, it's not here. That's new. Hidden in game. Okay, no worries. We can still work with it. I'll show this function another time. I don't think it applies here, but it would better apply if I make my own collision. Like if I add here, I add a box collision instead. Let this be box one. Actually, wait, there is a box collision already over here. And now if I just set this to, if I check this to be untrue, and then I play and press T. Oh, okay, yeah, this does not have the spawning thing. Let's just quickly set that up. T keyboard, T spawn actor from class, spawn dump, get actor transform, and from here get actor. Okay, get player, get player character. Yeah, so if you want an explanation of what this is, get player character gets the character that you're playing in the game. Um, get actor transform is the transform. Transform is nothing but I think I haven't explained this to you guys, but transform. Um, uh, Wait, let's see. Transform is location, rotation, and scale. All of those values together makes up one transform. And that also you can split. This is floats, this is also floats, and this is also floats. So this is entirely, transform contains all value, nine floats, all of them stored together as one. And let's just undo this and undo this. This goes into transform. It's always spawn, compile, save. Let's go here, press T. As you can see, now before you were not able to see the box, but now you're able to see the box as well when you spawn the fire. So that's what hidden in game does. That's basically it, what I was trying to do. If I take this, forgot to compile, save, now press T, now press, now you can see that box is not shown over here. So that's exactly what hidden in game does in Unreal Engine, and you guys can. That's exactly what I wanted to show you. But yeah, our more important thing was we wanted to see open level, and now this level has been opened. So Yep, that's basically it. This is how open level works. Hmm. Okay, so now let's move on to the next function. As I said again and again, if you guys have any doubts, please message on chat. I'll answer immediately so that you guys can find out where, if you have any doubts, where you're not understanding, I can help you out over there. Um, as you can see, yeah, imagine a blueprint teleporter, which when overlapped by the player will load a new level. The name of the level should load it should be like destination. So that destination, instead of that, we can just write the level name as well. And as you can see over here, this is also another way to do it. hmm Now, yep, let's do this. This is also a very, very easy blueprint, and it's very simple. Now, instead of T, if I don't want to spawn this actor, instead I just want to quit the game when I press T, or if I press escape, or if I press P, you can just set it as to be any value, and it'll just quit. That's it. So if I play and then press T, just quit. Play, press T, quit. That's it. So and that's exactly how quit works, quit game. The most easiest function, you can use this anywhere you want in your game, especially in your widget blueprints. When you create a UI, UX for your game, and in your button, you want to quit the game when you click on the quit button. So you just click on, you use the on click event, just press quit game, and you're done. That's it. It'll just stop the game, and that's all you need to do for quit game. So let's move back to the compendium and see. It can be quit or it could be background, and basically that's exactly what it does. If another example, game settings is saved and then the application is closed. So basically, if you click, you save all of your inventory settings, save game to slot. This is another blueprint. It's called save game object, and that's also another part of blueprint. I've already explained what set timer is. You guys have already know over that. You guys can see these example usage and stuff and see if you don't understand something, you can let me know. I've already explained what clear timer handle does. Mm, Cast 2, yes. So I'll explain this and I'll move forward. I'll explain this bit. LERP, mm, fine. Let's do that in the next class. Um, is valid. Okay. I'll explain what is valid is also. Let's see. Right. It's valid. Gate. Okay. Delay. I've already explained what delay is, so you guys must know what how delay works. Dot product. Okay. So I'll just explain what dot product is. Dot product is when you have two vectors and you want to find dot product of both of them so that you can see. Suppose if your actor's forward vector and you want to check if it is facing a wall or something, or if you want to get the actor's upward vector, or you just want to see like how do I explain it? Um, hmm. I mean, this is kind of self-explanatory. I'll just go to OneNote and I'll try my best to explain with what a dot product is. Suppose you have two vectors. If they are parallel to each other, your dot product is going to be equal to 1. If your two vectors are perpendicular to each other, your dot product is going to be 0. And if your two vectors are parallel but opposite to each other, your dot product is going to be -1. The basic max which go over here, like suppose if this vector A, this is vector B, it's going to be A vector, B vector, cos theta. Cos theta being the angle between the two vectors. So here the angle is 0, cos 0 is 1. So A into B, considering if the value of A is 1 and B is also 1, so your dot product is also going to be 1. Now, if your theta is perpendicular to each other, so that means it's going to be theta is going to be equal to 90. Cos 90 is equal to uh, 0, and so that's why this entire thing becomes 0. And if this both are parallel to each other but opposite, that means your theta is going to be equal to 180 degree, and cos 180 is equal to minus 1. So that's exactly what's happening over here. So this is dot product. You can do the same. There's even cross product for those who know what cross product is. So basically, when you do cross product, it's basically when you want to find a vector which is perpendicular to two other vectors. So you use cross product to find with two vectors, you can find the direction of a third one. Now, suppose, for example, you have uh, an actor. Like suppose this is my character, right? Suppose he is facing forwards, and this is his direction forwards. Consider this to be a 3D direction going inside this computer, inside this drawing, and this is going to be your z vector, your x vector. Now, if you find x cross z, uh, sorry, x cross z, you're going to find a vector which is perpendicular to both of these vectors. If you get what I mean. Imagine this to be 3D space again. So this would be equal to your y vector, which is y. So if this is your z, this is your x, and this is going to be your y. The basic syntax over here is x, z, sine theta, and there's also a what do you call a unit vector associated with this, a cap or something. So basically this returns to you another vector, and this is when you use when you want to find like complex vector calculations, if you want to find directions, if you want to find a starting and ending point and stuff like that. This is where you would use dot product and cross product for. So I gave like a very brief explanation, and I think it's better. You guys can see these examples as well. And yeah, you can see the hit normal, and if the other forward vector are, if you find the dot product, if they're nearly equal to minus one, tolerance of being 0.1, then you can destroy actor. Basically, this is like projectile stuff. You guys can try it out, check it out, and whatever. If it works, it works. Hmm. Okay, I'll just explain the earlier stuff as fast as possible. It's very easy. These things are like nothing but flow controls and stuff. So let's go for casting. So if you guys remember, I just casted in our blueprint like a couple of minutes ago. Here, casting. So basically, what casting does is it now how do I explain cast? Duplicate. Can we duplicate? Yeah, we can duplicate. Let this be like this. Save, save. I've duplicated the value of this, and yeah, so what I'm gonna do, casting. mm, I made two different blueprints. One is third person character one, and let's see, you can see I can select character one now. What I'm gonna do exactly is, if I think I can cast two. Yeah, there are two characters. Awesome. It's perfectly what I wanted to do. So now I'm just gonna simulate this over here itself. And if you can see, if you remember the code we did, as you can see, this is not getting executed. Why? Is because this character, what we have made over here, is not a third person character one, the third person character, but third person character one, which is a duplicate of that. So basically, they might be the same, they might have the same functions, but they're two different blueprints, and they're not equal to each other. So that's basically what third person character means. And over here, now if you can see, now I'm going to do the same thing all over again, and if I jump and enter this, now if you remember, if you just saw the flow control, it did get executed. Now see, it got executed, it went all the way to open level and did not get blocked by this. So basically what casting does is it checks if my other actor is this casted actor or not. If it is, then I want to bring, or I wanted to create a reference. This is the reference as you can see, BP third person character object reference is this variable, and if both of them are equal, if this person, if this actor, or I mean, sorry, if this character who went inside my trigger volume is my third person character, then I want it to continue. If it fails, then I want it to do something else, and that's possible. That's totally possible. And from here, like suppose if we go into our third person character, I can just delete this for now. We do not need this. Okay. Oh, it just closed everything for me. Yeah, let me just open it up. From here, what I wanted to do is get. Oh wait. Mm, 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 Save. Yeah. So from here, mm, we have a first int. Okay. So from here, if I drag out and I say get first int, basically the value of first int is not stored over here. As you can see in our variables, there is no first int, but in our character variable blueprint, there is a first int. So basically, I can get values of from using this casting. I can get values of these variables, manipulate it here, and it will automatically save it in this blueprint. So I can do increment int. I'm not opening level. Let's do another functionality for now. Increment in, and yeah, over here, I think if I press Z, yeah, as you can see, this function is working. If I press Z, it's gonna add two to just for explanation, if I press Z on my keyboard, first int will add 2, the default value of this is 0, it will add 2 to this, and then it will set that new value to be the new value to be the value of this variable first int, and overwrite the old value, and then yeah, this is my print string, and that's what I'm doing over here. Now, my third person map, I wanted to not increment, but multiply instead. I'm gonna multiply by 10, and I'm gonna set first int over here to be my new value, and yeah, that's all I needed to do, and that's it. So let's see how this works. I'm going over here. As you can see, I'm not overlapped with the actor yet, but now the value is 20. Now I'm going to go inside, and now it's going to be 200 to 204. If you can see what just happened, basically, um, before it was following this logic, and when I overlapped, I got the value of that particular variable, same variable that we are using over here in this function. I'm getting that value, I'm multiplying it by 10, and I'm setting that to be my new value. Now since before we had a value of 20, now I'm going to be setting it to be 12, overlapped. Now I've overlapped. And now if I do it, it becomes 120 into 10, which is 12 into 10, which is 120. And then 122, 124, 126, 128, like that. And that's how this works. So this is basically casting. You can make any inputs over here. You can even take the camera, the follow camera. You can get follow camera. You can, this is just a very crude example. From here, you can get velocity, no, wait, get character movement, which is um, a component, set max walking speed, and let's set this to be 400. No, wait, let's set this to be 800 or something. Let's see. So now I'm running normally. Now, but if I walk into this, I'm running much faster. If you can see, there is a drastic increase in speed, but you're not able to notice it because there's no change in animations. But it's not, it won't set it back. It's now the new value is 800. What I can do, wait, um, third person map, bind event, end. overlap and overlap. Okay, get this thing. Can we get details? No, we can't. Okay, just create a custom event again. Custom event, um, reduce speed, and do the same over here. We don't need this anymore. Re reduce speed, and yeah, basically I just need these again. Going over here, pasting them, and just hooking the same thing over here. And instead, I'm gonna set it back to 500. Okay, now let's do it like this. This is my trigger volume. It's in the corner for now, but instead, I'm gonna like kind of like put it in the center over here. Let's scale this up like this, and now we play. So now my normal speed is like this, but the moment I enter, my speed increases, but I exit, my speed decreases. So this is how you can like change variables and stuff, variables and stuff inside and outside. And this is how you can play around with values. If you want to try something insane, you can just like set this to be 1500, and you can actually see a proper difference now, I think. Yeah, did you see the difference? I think it's more evident now. Before it wasn't. But yeah, so that's basically how casting works. Hmm. It's moving back to the compendium. You can just read this kind of a bit theory. It goes to the actor, reference, machine reference, basically getting references and doing. LERP, LERP is something which I will explain in the next class because we're running short on time as well. So you guys can see LERP. Basically, what it does is that from A to B, it changes the value from A to B, and there's like a linear transition, and that's given by you usually use timeline and stuff like that, but that's not really important. Is valid is also there. Um, you guys can see this. It's a very basic explanation. I'll explain what is gate. Uh, with the help of this. So gate is another flow control node only. So let's just go to the Unreal Engine window quickly. So inside gate, I actually don't need all of this. I'm just going to delete it. And I'm just going to show you how gate works. And we also need the begin play. So I deleted that as well. Okay, so even begin play, I want it to enter this thing. Uh, Upon pressing T on my keyboard, and let's have one for Z on my keyboard. Open, close. Let's do this on tick so that you guys can understand this much better. Print string, open. Okay, so I'm going here, and as you can see, nothing's happening because the gate's closed. Now if I press T, it's now open. Now if I press T again, sorry, if I press Z, it's closed. And now as you can see, it's closed now. If I press T, it's open. If I press Z, it's closed. If I press T. So this is exactly what gate does. So it's kind of like an open and close kind of a thing. Um, it starts from event tick, it enters. You can use it for any event. Suppose you want a particular event to enter this particular gate, and then it waits. You're starting it to be closed. So suppose if I start it to be open, check this boolean to be false. See, it's open right now, and if I press Z, it closes. If I press T now again, it opens. If I press Z, it closes. So that's exactly how gate works. And yep, that's basically it. You can use this for controlling flow. You can use custom events, and it's very more like it's a very good node for flow control and makes it more easier to make a lot of stuff. And yep, that's basically it. Mm, okay, yep, moving forward. As you can see, they made like health generator and health regenerator stuff custom to character. This is like when you are colliding with like a health regenerating area, which regenerates your health, and so you can open and close these gates. And if you are overlapping, it opens. If you're non-overlapping, it closes. And that's exactly what's happening over here. It's very simple, a very basic thing. I've already explained delay. Oh wait, I think I'm not sharing um, compendium. Yeah, okay. So this is exactly it. This is all about delay. You've understood this. I've explained dot products. I've even explained cross products. Event dispatcher, I'll explain next session. Bind event, I've already explained it to you how it works, so you guys know that as well. This is not important. Formatting text, you guys can look up it. It's There's another way to do it. It's not really required. It's kind of like stupid. Uh, hmm. Okay. I think that's about it. I'll explain the rest of these functions in the next class, next session, which will be the volume 2. So if you guys have any doubts and stuff like that, just let me know. I'll help you guys out. And I hope that this gave you like a basic understanding. Let me just share you guys the link of the uh, thing very quickly so that you guys can also download. So this is the link to the thing. You can just download it from here, and you can like go through it as well online as well if you don't want to download. And yeah, I'll be explaining all of these functions in the later series. It's gonna be a three-part or maybe a four-part series as well, and I'll be explaining everything in that. I think I'll also be sending you guys the form for attendance. So wait, copy link. So you guys can now, it's in the live chat. So I forgot to tell you, both the links are on the live chat, so you can kind of like take it from there. And if you have any doubts or anything, just let me know, and I will immediately get back to you guys. Thank you for joining today. That's all it's gonna be for today's session. I hope you guys had a proper understanding of blueprints, and it kind of helped you and probably will help you in making games and stuff. So, yep, that's about it. Thank you guys for joining.